Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live Argentina discussion. My name is Roy Nemmer of MundoAlbiceleste.com, and we are here to discuss Argentina versus Peru in the South American World Cup qualifiers. We're going to discuss the players that will be there, the players that will not be there. We're going to talk about Lionel Scaloni's comments about future national team call-ups, specifically in March. We're going to talk about Di Maria's comments about potentially being a coach and maybe even your starting 11. And of course, taking your questions as always. So before we kick things off, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button. We are also going to be live immediately following Argentina's match versus Peru on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, depending on where you are in the world. And as always, let us know down below in the chat where you're watching from. We tend to get from all around the world. First things first, let's get to the comments. Matias saying we need some change. Scaloni needs to step up and take a few chances. Nico Paz, Thiago Almada, Nicolas Otamendi also. His days are more than numbered. And that's something we are going to discuss as well. There's been a lot of negative comments in regards to Otamendi and the back line and Scaloni as well. And I think Scaloni kind of mentioned it a little bit in terms of the call-ups earlier today in the press conference, but we are going to be talking all about that as well. Suraj, all the way from Dallas. Hello, Suraj. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending your Monday evening with us. Thank you so much. Keanu Ruiz saying, let's beat Peru tomorrow. Absolutely. And we're also going to look at Argentina's their track record at La Bombonera, where they're going to be playing. The match versus Peru is not at the Monumental, but it will be played at La Bombonera, home of Boca Juniors, of course, the legendary Boca Juniors. So no Monumental, it will be at La Bombonera. And that's going to be an interesting one. The last time Argentina played at La Bombonera was this time last year versus Uruguay in a defeat. So Argentina's track record at La Bombonera, not great, at least not in recent times, in World Cup qualifiers, of course. Now, if we take a look, there's been a lot of injuries for Argentina. We're looking at, Nahuel Molina, Christian Romero, obviously Germán Patzela, Lisandro Martinez, Nicolas Gonzalez, even before the call-ups as well, or before the matches, of course. But Molina and Cuti Romero, the two injured players, officially out, and this news came after the match versus Paraguay, after the 2-1 loss. So those are two big losses. Let's take a look at the comments. Joel, hello, Joel. Nice shirt. Thank you so much. It's the classic retro 1994 with the Maradona. One of my favorites. I truly love it. All the way from Wisconsin. Look at that. All the way from Wisconsin. Much love to you, Joel. Thank you for spending your Monday afternoon or Monday evening with us. Thank you so much. And oh boy, here we go. Nehemias 19. In short, in terms of Otamendi saying he cannot be there at the next World Cup, cannot make it, physically maybe not as much. Thank you for everything, but his time is probably coming to an end. And thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for joining. John in here as well. Good morning, John, all the way from Malaysia. Just for the record, Argentina has never beaten Peru at La Bombonera. That is some track record. I remember a qualifying match under Sampaoli in 2017, I believe, before the World Cup, in the qualifiers, before the match versus Ecuador, if I'm not mistaken, that legendary match where Messi scored a hat-trick. If I'm not mistaken, that was the 0-0 draw there. I remember Dario Benedetto played in that one. I think Christian Pavon as well. It was something. It was certainly something, and not a good track record versus Peru at La Bombonera, as John mentioned. So thank you, John, for that. Matias saying we will get the 3 points, but we need to think more about the next 2 years and why not start now. And I like this comment. I really do. And I'm going to come back to this in a little bit because Scaloni hinted about this. He said in his press conference earlier today about the future call-ups and specifically why some of the players have been called up in September, in October, and in November. In short, we're going to get to it in a little bit, but in short, essentially saying he stuck with the players after the Copa America, but that will certainly change, and that's what it appears to be. Now, going back to the injuries here, we mentioned Molina, we mentioned Cuti Romero, a lot in the back line. You want to throw in Patzela, you want to throw in Lisandro Martinez, of course, Marcos Acuna unavailable. for the call-ups as well. He wasn't selected. So if we look strictly at the back line, whoever is healthy right now, we have Gonzalo Montiel, who is set to start in place of Molina. We have Leo Balerdi, who's set to start in place of Cuti Romero. We have Facundo Medina. He is one. He's on the bench, center back. Nico Otamendi set to start alongside Balerdi. Perez was called up before the match versus Paraguay. And of course, Nicolas Tagliafico, who is set to get the start. And, the back line tentatively versus Peru is expected to be Nicolas Tagliafico, Balerdi, Otamendi, and Montiel. Those are some big losses. I know people are going to talk about Senesi. I know people are going to say, why not Perez? Why not Medina? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And let's get to the comments, and we'll circle back to that in just a moment. Matias, there you go. Big question. Where is Senesi? Where is Marco Senesi? And in my opinion, based off of what Scaloni said earlier today at the press conference, it looks like Senesi will be there in March versus Uruguay, versus Brazil. Those are two big matches. Uruguay in Montevideo, and Brazil is going to be at home, you would like to think, at the Monumental in Buenos Aires. So those are two big matches, and Senesi, according to Scaloni, form will play a factor, of course, in how they do with their club. So you'd like to think Senesi could get called up as well. Mixed Memorabilia, thank you so much for joining us. Mixed Memorabilia, if I'm not mistaken, all the way in the UK. So thank you for spending your late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning with us. Mixed Memorabilia saying, hello, Roy. I have a lot to say. I'm very disappointed with the Paraguay result. I think there's a natural complacency, which is not surprising after everything they have achieved. I feel the younger players, here we go, I'm going to continue this, should now be regularly introduced in terms of Nico Paz and Thiago Almada. This was the case in the last home qualifying match versus Bolivia. Nico Paz, a great appearance coming off the bench. Thiago Almada obviously playing very well as well. So I expect to see them tomorrow versus Peru. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know down below in the comments. Would you actually even start Almada or Nico Paz, or bring them off the bench, or what would be your starting 11? Let me know down below, or at least midfield and attack. And let's continue on here with some of the comments. Matias talking about Alejandro Garnacho. Big question too, was not impressed. My 2 cents about Garnacho really quickly, and I want you guys to chime in as well. When it comes to Garnacho, I think it's a couple of things. I think the setup, specifically versus Paraguay, did not suit him. That's one. 2, as weird as this sounds, and I know he's playing obviously at the top level, right? Manchester United, the Premier League. As weird as this sounds, I don't think he's accustomed to playing in South America. That physical style, that marking, the defending in South America is significantly different than it is in Europe. And I think that's going to take some time for him to adjust. And the only way to really adjust is to play and gain that experience. And honestly speaking, I would like to see him play versus Peru on Tuesday. And why not even start? Personally, I'm not a big fan of the front three being Messi, Lautaro, and Julian, just because I think we lack some pace. But that's something else that we're going to discuss as well. So I'm a fan of Garnacho, and I'm going to defend him a little bit, especially because he is still very young as well. Left Coast Lefty, hello, all the way from LA, from Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining. Saying start Almada. Thiago Almada in great form. We need another winger to replace Di Maria. I do agree on that. Almada is in very good form, playing in Brazil in the final of the Copa Libertadores in a couple of days, or actually in a couple of weeks' time, on November 30th, ironically enough, at the Monumental, which is the reason why the match is going to be played at La Bombonera instead of the Monumental at the Monumental, excuse me. So he's in very good form. He's done well with Argentina whenever he's played recently. So I think we're going to see him. If not as a starter, then definitely as a substitute. Matias saying we miss Nicolas Gonzalez. Nicolas Gonzalez with Juventus, a very good player. I'm a big fan. People have kind of joked about me or teased me a little bit when it comes to Nico Gonzalez. I'm a fan. I like him. He's done very well in previous years with Fiorentina, with Stuttgart before, with obviously now with Juventus, despite the fact that he's injured, and with Argentina as well. Probably Argentina's best player, one of the best players at least in the second half and extra time of the Copa America final versus Colombia. So I'm a fan. I like Nico Paz, and I do agree in that we miss him. Now, going back to the injuries, It's a big one. It's a big one. And that, as I mentioned, we're going to get that back line. We're going to miss Cuti Romero, which is a big one. Obviously, Argentina's best defender, and no disrespect to anyone playing for Argentina in the back line. Romero right now is just a cut above the rest. And dare I say, not just right now, but for the last couple of years. So no Molina, no Romero. However, Giuliano Simeone has been called up. And this is an interesting one. And I want everyone's opinion here, because with Simeone, it's like, he's a forward, he's a winger, but he's also kind of a right back or right wing back. At least that's what his father uses him at Atletico Madrid. So he has been called up, and that's, obviously in large part of the injuries. And that could be also in relation to the injury, not only to Molina, but also to Nico Gonzalez down the wing. If Scaloni is thinking about using Simeone down the wing as well, certainly a possibility. But I think it's more of a backup, and having him train with the team, train with the players, gain that experience. And depending on the result, depending on how things are going versus Peru, maybe bring him on as a substitute. But as John mentioned earlier, Argentina's track record against Peru, specifically at the Monumental, it's a difficult one. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Mixed Memorabilia saying, I feel there's a big hype to begin with when it comes to Garnacho, but I'm not sure. I feel others deserve the squad positions. Maybe there is some hype behind Garnacho. I do understand that, and I do see that point of view. I would still personally pick him for the national team. I think he gets a lot of undeserved hate just because of his birthplace and him liking Ronaldo. But the kid's talented. He's still very raw, still very young. So I'm all for having him on the team, and let him gain that experience. Let him gain that experience. Mattia saying, Simeone any better than Carboni in that role? It's difficult to tell. It's really, really difficult to tell. Carboni, especially now, he's injured and likely out for the rest of the season. But generally speaking, I think there was a reason why Carboni was selected ahead of Simeone in recent times for the national team. And, at club level, he was really beginning to show his form right before his injury. But Simeone now in good form, scoring for Atletico Madrid, playing as a right back for Atletico Madrid, very versatile. And I think that's something that Scaloni and the Argentina national team coaching staff, I think that's something they admire. It is his versatility as well. And of course, playing under his father, playing under Simeone at Atletico, he's going to have that work rate as well, which is an added bonus to the national team and to the players. Continuing on, with John saying Cuti Romero is untouchable, and that is not negotiable. I completely agree. Losing him is huge, but this is a good chance to see others, especially Valerdi, show that they have what it takes, and that is very true. That is very, very true. Valerdi was brought on versus Paraguay. Really, him replacing Cuti Romero, not easy. Him coming on in the match prior versus Venezuela, that one wasn't easy as well. This one, he's playing at home in Argentina. He will be a starter. This is his chance to prove what he can do at the national team level. This is his time to shine. He's been in and out of the national team. I remember him being selected versus Ecuador back in 2018 or 2019, before the pandemic, before everything. It was a big win. He did relatively well. And then he wasn't picked for a long time. Played for Dortmund, didn't play for Dortmund, went on loan, then obviously at Marseille now, and he's their captain. This is his time to shine. This is him having to show and prove that he belongs with the national team, because on paper, or at least on form with Marseille, he absolutely deserves a chance with the national team. And hopefully he proves, whoever doubts him, he proves them all wrong versus Peru. All right, Vladislav, welcome, Vladislav, saying need to see something proving that Senesi is somehow not good enough to make this team. And Left Coast Lefty saying respectfully disagree regarding Senesi. He looked great against Man City 2 game weeks ago. Senesi's been, in my opinion anyways, he's done well. And let me know, everybody in the chat down below, would you pick Senesi for the national team? I think he's done well. I think he's been in good form. I'm not entirely sure. Scaloni kind of hinted about it in this press conference earlier today, but I'm not entirely sure why he doesn't make the cut for the national team. He obviously wants to play for Argentina. He's turned down the chance to play for Italy at the Finalissima about 2 years ago now, over 2 years ago. where he played for Argentina and then made his debut after that versus Estonia a couple of days later. So he wants to play for Argentina. He's very good. He's a good defender. Deserves the call-up, in my opinion. And Vladislav saying Senesi deserves a chance. There you go. Matias saying, and too bad about Barco. I mean, if he played more for club, the boy has skills. Valentin Barco is another interesting one as well. Left back, left winger, left midfielder, can play as midfield. Very versatile as well. But for him, as you mentioned, I think it's just the fact that it's his lack of playing time. I think more than anything, he's still very raw, very young, and still a lot to grow, as a player. But playing in Spain, I think it's going to help him. Let's continue on with the comments. Shaquille Thomas, and by the way, thank you everybody for joining. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the notifications button. Shaquille Thomas saying Echeverri, Franco, there you go. Mustanano, Anselmino, Varela, Senesi should have gotten called up, and we need a left back and right back. Molina, Tagliafico, very weak in defending. I do agree for the most part. I wouldn't say very weak at defending. I think Tagliafico has done a formidable job, a very good job for Argentina. An unsung hero, in my opinion, flying under the radar. He's been very consistent when it comes with the national team, especially in the big games, World Cup finals, Copa America finals. He's done very well. Molina as well, he's had some ups and downs, but, and this is something we've spoken about in the past, I do think Argentina need to start introducing more left backs, more right backs into the team. And, we do have some that are available, scattered all around the world, be it in Brazil, be it in Spain, be it elsewhere, certainly some players. And I think we're going to see some of the younger players or the newer faces mentioned here in March. I truly think we're going to see some players. Let's continue on. Mixed Memorabilia saying the core of the team is very strong. I feel Scaloni needs to build that creativity in attack while maintaining the balance, and that I do agree with. And it's not an easy job. I don't think it's an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. Left goes lefty. Barco could be a next Di Maria if he plays more of an attacking position. There's a lot of hope with El Colo Barco. That is some comparison, and that is high praise, of course. He's talented. I don't think he's a left back. I think eventually when he does play for Argentina, I don't see him in that left back role. Maybe as a left wing back, similar to Sorin back in his heyday with the national team. But strictly as a traditional left back, I don't believe so. Maybe more of a Sorin type of player, more of an attack-minded left back, let's say, or left wing back. And Matias agrees with left goes lefty as well. All right, I love these, everybody. I love the comments. Keep them coming. Let's keep going here. Now, the players that are available for the match versus Peru, there's a lot of injuries. But if we break it down, the goalkeepers, all three are there. Dibu Martinez, Geronimo Rulli, and Walter Benitez. We spoke about the defenders. Montiel, Balerdi, Molina, Medina, Otamendi, Perez, and Tagliafico. And then in midfield, we have Paredes, McAllister, De Paul, Palacios, Enzo Fernandez, Lo Celso, Enzo Barrenechea, Thiago Almada, Nico Paz, and Facundo Buonanotte. And then up front, a little less, we got Garnacho, Messi, Lautaro, Julian, Tati Castellanos, and Simeone. Those are the 6 players available in attack for Argentina. And those are the players available for Argentina versus Peru. It's going to be an interesting one. It really will be. I know a lot of people might be looking at the opponent, and especially Peru's form, they're not doing too well, and say this is going to be easy. History has shown us versus Peru, it's not easy, especially at La Bombonera. It's not easy at all. Let's continue on with the comments, see what everyone's talking about. All right, this is a big one. Matias, big question. Is it time to bench Lionel, make him a super sub and not a starter? If he's healthy, I would not bench him. And I understand the argument. And we said this after the Copa America final. Argentina, I know this sounds blasphemous. Argentina played better after Messi came off, or the dynamic, Nico Gonzalez brought something different to the team. Messi maybe brought more control in midfield, more control of the ball, but attacking-wise, with Nico Gonzalez, the team looked different. So there's certainly an argument to be made. I completely understand that. I don't think it's the time just yet. Not yet. I wouldn't, personally speaking. Umer, thank you for joining us, Umer. Umer from, Umer Rizwan from Pakistan, excuse me. Some players like Enzo, Molina, Otamendi, Alvarez performance is being deteriorated post-World Cup, need to be replaced. Yes and no. Yes and no. Enzo Fernandez's form after the World Cup, it has taken a dip. There's a lot going on there with Chelsea, the turmoil going on with Chelsea, his personal life right now, getting separated from his wife. I don't know how much that plays in terms of a factor, but in the last match versus Paraguay, I thought he was pretty good as well. I don't think he was bad. So he's kind of been up and down in terms of form, but overall, I don't think he's been too bad. Molina's form's been on and off the national team. Otamendi's the big one there that does get a lot of questions and criticism thrown his way. And Alvarez is a little bit different. Alvarez's role with the national team has been very different than, let's say, Lautaro. Lautaro more that pure number 9. Julian at times a playmaker, at times a winger, playing behind Lautaro. Very different. Very, very different. Mixed memorabilia, Sorin Tequili Gonzalez. There you go. I like that in terms of Valentin Barco. Matias saying, I want to see more of Tati Castellanos. I thought he did okay when he came on. When he came on the bench, missed an opportunity, that header. But overall, I think he can bring something to the team. We'll see. He's in good scoring form for Lazio. I'm a fan. And hopefully he gets some minutes. I would not be opposed. I would really, really not be opposed. Matthias, talking about Messi, we must think 2 years ahead. I do agree with that. And I think Scaloni is looking at it as well, especially when it comes to the youngsters. Matthias, and we must think the whole De Paul and Messi combo. We cannot keep Messi as the pivotal focus. That was my point. Point understood, my friend. Point understood. Thank you so much. Thanks for the comment. Mixed memorabilia. Roy, a question. Are you concerned about Argentina's form? That shield of invincibility seems to have weakened. What are your thoughts? I'm not worried. And I want everybody to answer as well. Are you guys worried? I'm not. And I'll say why. There's a couple of different reasons why I'm not worried about Argentina's form. If you really look at it, let's look at it strictly from results. The match versus Colombia could have gone either way. We know about the penalty. We know about the referee. We know about all of that. That's one. 2, the match versus Venezuela was essentially played in a swimming pool. For both teams, don't get me wrong, for both teams. But you're looking at a loss versus Colombia, which can happen, and they're a good team and they're playing at home and the whole referee decision. Then you're looking at Venezuela. Again, the pitch wasn't the best for both teams, but there's an argument to be made there. The match versus Paraguay, I truly think that was just maybe Scaloni getting the substitutes wrong and the players underperforming. For sure, that I completely, acknowledge, and we spoke about it in the post-match. But out of 3 where they didn't win, I think that's the only one where you can really say, okay, the team underperformed. And credit to Paraguay as well, because they had a solid game plan. They have a very good coach, and they did well. So credit to them. It happens. Sometimes your team loses. They're not always going to win. Should they not beat Peru? I wouldn't say I'd be worried, but again, we're going to have to wait until March. I'm not saying I would be worried, but there might be some stuff in terms of maybe players having to come out and seeing what gives. But it's going to depend. If Argentina don't win, what happened? Was it something controversial? Was it a bad goal that we gave away? Was it the team not playing well? What gives? That's going to depend. But overall, I'm not personally worried. Absolutely not. We're looking at 3 matches where they didn't win out of how many? 20, 30, 40, 50 games? I'm not worried, to be honest. Not the slightest bit. If they don't win versus Peru, I still would not be worried, but I would say, okay, maybe there's some stuff we got to change. That's just my opinion. I appreciate the question, though. Absolutely love it. Let's take a look at some more questions here. Caspian and comments. I'll be reading all of them, everybody. Keep them coming. Caspian saying, Otamendi is no longer good in the air, so all his assets are gone. Julian is not playing in his natural position. Again, Otamendi getting a lot of criticism. I understand, and rightfully so. My opinion, I would not, as much as it pains me, I would not start Otamendi. I don't think he's at that level anymore where he should be starting for the national team. I think maybe he has to be a substitute, bring in that experience for sure, younger players in training and whatnot. But if we're really thinking about the future, 2026, the World Cup specifically, I'm not even going to go after that, just the World Cup, I don't think Otamendi should start. That's just my opinion. At least not every match. At least not every match. Vladislav saying, I will be worried if they can't beat Peru, but not worried so far. They have to beat Peru a la Bombonera. Left Coast Lefty saying, no way am I worried. They lost, 4 or 5 games since 2019. Let's be reasonably exactly. I think it's just the fact that it's happening in such a short period of time that, people take it as in, we should be worried and things are going wrong and this and that. I don't think so, to be honest. I don't think so. Let's take a look. Keanu Ruiz, I'm not worried, and I suspect if we put it on Peru, everyone else worries will go away. Yep. This team is full of talent with a great coach. Exactly. I love that comment, Keanu Ruiz. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for throwing them out there, letting us know your opinions. Keep them coming. John, to answer Mixed Memorabilia's question, being the best national team in the world comes with a price, and that is others always stepping up big time when playing against us. Look at how, it's true. Look at Paraguay and how they celebrated beating Argentina. Yes, they needed the points for the qualifiers. Don't get me wrong. But that celebration, and credit to them, they did well. But you could tell how much that win, especially against Argentina, for them, how important that was. And by the way, in terms of this, if we have any Italian national team fans right now, please cover your ears. I don't mean any disrespect, but the fact that France beat Italy in the Nations League now means Argentina must beat Peru to stay in the number 1 spot in the FIFA rankings. So France beating Italy means Argentina has to beat Peru to remain number 1 in the FIFA rankings. All right, Italian fans, you could unblock your ears. Matthias saying, I see the argument, yes, but has our midfield dictated play? Have we controlled really the pace? I'm worried about the midfield. We seem to like dynamics. We look a little predictable. I get that. Fortunately for Argentina, we have the players off the bench. Thiago Almada, Nico Paz is doing well, depending on where you want to play him. We have Varela that is not even being called up yet. There's a lot. There's talent. There's a big talent pool. So I'm not worried, to be very, very honest. Keanu Ruiz saying 2 of the past 3 matches aren't credible. Playing in Colombia, you're always playing 11 versus 14. I like that. And the Swamp game was crazy. Vladislav, we already knew this. Otamendi is the guy you bring off the bench to see out the game at this point and never a starter. All right. Let's keep doing this. John saying, furthermore, we're in the middle of a transition period with new guys coming in as the old ones get phased out. It's pretty normal. We tend to struggle a bit. And this is another valid point in that this is not FIFA. This is not Football Manager. You can't do wholesale changes. You can't change the entire starting 11 and bring in a bunch of youngsters and do well and win games. It takes time. There's, you have to build that chemistry. You have to do it's not easy. It's really not easy. And the transition is what Argentina is going through right now. And it's crazy we're talking, or some people are talking about, is Argentina in a crisis, or, should we be worried? Argentina is still number 1 in not only in FIFA rankings, but more importantly, I guess, in the World Cup qualifiers in South America. Argentina is still number 1. So it's not that bad. It's not even bad, let alone that bad. Calvin, hello, my friend. Hello, Calvin. Thank you for joining us. Caspian saying, to grow and evolve, you need to lose sometimes. That's very true. Yeah. What's that old saying? Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. As Argentina fans, we went through decades of pain to get to this joy. So let's enjoy it. Vladislav, yes, just like against Saudi Arabia. Calvin, maybe winning also can lead to easing off sometimes. It's normal. I think we need some new players in the team to freshen things up. Competition is healthy. It is. It certainly is. And it helps the team get better. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Calvin. Hello, Sharik Khan. I would love to see the classic Lo Celso de Paul Paredes midfield sometime soon. There's always something so special when they play together. And that's something maybe we haven't seen in a while. Those 3, the classic the classic midfield 3, under Scaloni ever since he took over, Lo Celso, Paredes, de Paul. That was that midfield. Those were the 3 players for Scaloni. I don't know if we'll get it tomorrow. I think Alexis starts, and Alexis being back home, Paredes being back home at La Bombonera. But I think Enzo starts. I think Alexis starts, and most certainly, I believe De Paul will start as well. Matias, oh yeah, we know decades of pain very, very well. Keanu saying, this is a crisis for Argentina, and we are number 1 in the world with 2 Copa America medals and a World Cup. I like being in a crisis, as do I. I like that. I like that one. Tristan, hello, Tristan. Tristan saying the real change happened in 2018 when Scaloni changed the roster completely. People forget about this. After that, changes are gradual. This time, I believe Otamendi, Tagliafico, Acuna, and Montiel are the ones that will be replaced. There's certainly some names for sure. Petzela, I think, will be phased out. Otamendi will be phased out. Tagliafico, I could see at least for the time being remaining up until we really do have more depth, let's say, or more left backs being called up to the team. Same thing for Montiel, because for now it's really Montiel and Molina as right backs. Maffeo's not getting called up for Majorca. So, but the rest I agree with. And this is something we've mentioned, I mentioned in previous videos, and specifically right before the September qualifiers. I said I would not be surprised if Scaloni sticks with kind of the same core of players for these qualifiers up until October or November, just because it's the start of the season and it's right after the Copa America. You're not going to do wholesale changes right after that. So I do agree with this, Tristan. Calvin, do you know predicted? We know, obviously, Dibu Martinez is going to start. That's for sure. The back line appears to be Tagliafico, Balerdi, Otamendi, and Montiel. Midfield and attack remains unseen. We don't know. Is it going to be Enzo? Is it going to be McAllister and De Paul? And then up front, that's the thing. Is it going to be a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2? We're not sure just yet. But let us know down below. What do you guys think? What would be your starting 11? Who would you start with? Let me know. Is it a 4-4-2, 4-3-3? Do you think Scaloni goes with maybe a 3-5-2? 3 center backs, 5 midfielders, 2 attackers? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Mixed memorabilia, I fully agree. We need the new left backs and right backs coming through the pain of all those finals. For sure, I want the Albiceleste to be great. And, the pain was there. And going back, it's not a crisis anymore. The team is doing super well. They're doing great. It's not a crisis. And all we need is just, that special left back or special right back, at least to have someone ready for 2026. I think that's going to be the big thing for Argentina, is having the fullbacks ready, because I don't know if Tagliafico, his form, how he's going to be in 2 years' time. Age is on Molina's side, it's on Montiel's side, but form, how they're going to be, that we don't know. And obviously only time will tell. Sebastian, hello, Sebastian. Sebastian saying Tagliafico will play. Yes, it looks like he will be playing. He's going to be the starting left back versus Peru at La Bombonera. Sharik, yes, there's a lot of pain. There's been a lot of pain. I'm so grateful for this time, to be honest. It's supposed to be enjoyed as much as possible. It isn't normal to win so much in succession already and what this squad has done. Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Caspian, we usually do better at the Monumental than Bombonera. Yes, we do. Either way, Anula Mufa. Yeah, no bad luck. No, fingers crossed. Mixed memorabilia. I had the greatest experience ever watching the 1986 World Cup with Maradona. Matias at 3-5-2. Used to love that formation, but it's ancient. I can't even speak anymore. Excuse me. But it is ancient. That ship has sailed. Kind of. But yeah, I would be surprised if it was really a 3-5-2. Yeah, there's the chant. Left goes lefty. Acuna, a lot of fitness issues for Acuna. Essentially, I think I think we've maybe begun to see the end of Acuna's time with the national team. He's been struggling with fitness issues, even back over in Spain when he was with Sevilla before making the jump over to River Plate. So I think he's really being phased out of the national team. Sharik, do you know why Paredes plays so less nowadays? He almost always performs when he's given the chance. Scaloni used to start him a lot more before. To be honest, I think with the emergence of McAllister and Enzo kind of doing well, I think he sees Paredes more as a substitute rather than a starter. Personally, I would not mind having Paredes start for the national team. I'm a big fan. He's great. Great vision, great control of the ball. That pass over to Lo Celso in the final of the Copa America in extra time, beautiful. Really a great pass. I don't know why. Maybe Scaloni likes having McAllister, Enzo, and De Paul in midfield. No one really knows. Nani, hello, all the way from Orlando, Florida. Hello, Nani. Thank you for joining us. Tristan saying, Let's keep an eye out on Juliano Simeone. I've been following the kid in Atletico Madrid. He's a machine. He's a Nico Gonzalez on the right wing. I like that. Versatile, plays as a right back, full back, and right wing. He'll be a revelation. Can't wait to see him and Nico playing as wide fullbacks in a 3-5-2 formation. Funny enough, we were just kind of talking about that. And that's a very good comparison, I think. Nicolas Gonzalez has played as a left back for Argentina more than once, and obviously played down the wing as well. And he's done pretty well. And Simeone, if Simeone can be a replica of Nico Gonzalez on the right side, I'm all for it. Sign me up. Caspian, if Paredes moves to Boca as soon as rumored, I don't believe that would be the end of his national team career. I don't think so, to be honest. No. As long as he stays healthy and playing well, I think there's still a spot for him in the national team. But obviously there's competition coming up. There's already competition in midfield, and then you look at some of the players that are not even called up yet. So competition is there. Matias, love to see a midfield of Paredes, McAllister, De Paul, and Almada. That's an interesting one if we could get that tomorrow versus Peru. Again, Almada in very good form. Arguably, probably along with McAllister, but arguably Thiago Almada and probably the Argentine midfielder in the best of forms alongside McAllister. And funny enough, we could probably even throw in Nico Paz in there. But those three are very, very good form for their clubs. Mixed memorabilia saying a 3-4-3 with Messi, Lautaro, and Julian. Calvin, maybe a 2 in attack, Leo and Lautaro, then De Paul on the right side of midfield, maybe Lo Celso left, and McAllister ends on the middle. Think that offers more control of the ball. I like that, yeah. I don't know about Lo Celso right now. His form just kind of coming back from injury. I don't know how he is. Obviously, we could see him start. Why not? Scaloni does tend to surprise us sometimes. He doesn't always, do the predicted 11, so to speak. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get Lo Celso starting. All right. Now, let's talk about Scaloni's comments, because I mentioned this earlier. He spoke at a press conference earlier today, and he spoke about the team and the players, that will be called up or that are called up, or more specifically in March. And Scaloni is, and I'll read the quote. Scaloni spoke about the players being called up, and he said, and I quote, in these 6 games, and in these 6 games, the 6 World Cup qualifiers, September, October, November. So in these 6 games, we brought the base of players that gave us the Copa America, and there was no time to call other players. All right. But from now on, so March 2025, we need them to play in their clubs, and we will decide by their football level. In other words, their form. We always did it this way, except this time when we decided in some cases to continue bringing them because they are important. So Scaloni pretty much saying we stuck with the players that brought us the Copa America for these 6 games. Moving forward, that's it. If you're not playing for your club, or if you're not playing well for your club, if you're not in good form, you will not be called up. Essentially is what Scaloni is saying. So for those that were asking, for example, about Senesi, about Varela, about some of the other players, this is probably the reason why. Senesi was not part of that Copa. Varela wasn't part of the Copa America team. But if they're doing well, especially come March in the qualifiers, those are 2 big games again, Uruguay and Brazil, then they will be called up. So that's a big one. That's a big, big comment right there. There you go. Nehemias saying, there you go, Scaloni. Scaloni's, he's trying players out. He's giving them opportunities. He's changing things around, right? Essentially, in short, he's bringing in the players, and specifically the young players, which is what I like, whether it's Nico Paz or Garnacho or even Facundo Buonanotte with the team, or Barrenechea. I like that. I like that, and Calvin likes that as well. So Scaloni is trying out players, as mentioned by Nehemias. He's trying out players. He's giving them chances, and he's trying. And come March 2025, I think we're going to see a different team, or a different base. I think. All right, Matias, that's a good question. Do you guys really think versus Brazil and Uruguay, Scaloni will take chances? In short, yes, I do. Scaloni has shown, and this is my opinion, but I think Scaloni has shown more than once in big games that he is not afraid to change things up, or even adapting to the opponent. If you look at, for example, versus the Netherlands, he brought in Lisandro Martinez, played 5 at the back or 3 with the ball, did that. In the final, bringing on Di Maria, or starting Di Maria, excuse me, on the left-hand side, that's a surprise. Giving the chance to Cuti Romero at the very, very start, right before the Copa America, even in the qualifiers versus Colombia, and I can't remember the other opponent right now, versus Chile, Colombia, bringing in Cuti Romero, bringing in Emiliano Martinez, even though there was a whole issue with Franco Armani and Armani, COVID and all that stuff, but he did that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does try things out. I'm not saying a completely different 11, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get some changes in those 2 games and starts different players. I wouldn't be surprised. Caspian Scaloni might be looking to test new wingers, maybe Varela, Senesi, Simeone to get more chances, maybe Barco, Soler, and Maffeo too in March. That's another one, right? Soler has been rumored, part of the Olympic team, did well there. There were rumors he might get called up, especially with Tagliafico maybe not being fully fit, but he is fully fit. So no Soler there. But maybe Maffeo as the right back if he's in good form. Who knows? Now till March, we got a couple of months, and the players have a couple of months to continue to impress. All right. Joel, I love this question. Roy, what do you think about Sule's future for Argentina? I think he certainly has a future. He certainly has one. He has been called up recently for Argentina. I believe it was in September for the qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken. Then he was dropped in October. As long as he continues to do well in Italy, he does well, he performs well, I have no doubt that he'll be called up for the national team. I don't doubt it whatsoever. He's still very young, very, very talented. Obviously, a lot of competition for sure, just like any other position. A lot of competition, but the talent is there. He's one of the, he's one of the younger names. One of the names that we always love to bring up when it comes to the younger players. Nico Paz, Matias Sule, there was Luca Romero as well, and he's a whole other issue. Garnacho. But Sule, I wouldn't be surprised if the kid has a very good future and a long future with the national team. So thank you for that question. I love that. Keep them coming. Sharik saying, do you think Leo should continue until the World Cup? I absolutely do. For me, he should continue until the Finalissima, and by winning it, his perfect last World Cup story will remain, and the squad growth continues without him too. So close to the World Cup, I don't think that happens. I truly think Messi plays until 2026, until the World Cup. Let's continue with this. Keanu Ruiz, interesting quote from Scaloni. Interesting to see if he sticks to Tagliafico or tries someone else. I think Tagliafico's criticism is sometimes unfair. He's a solid left back. I don't understand the criticism when it comes to Tagliafico. I truly don't. He was, even the match versus Saudi Arabia, he was arguably Argentina's best player, one of our best players. At the World Cup, he was solid. He was absolutely solid. You want to talk about the final? Go rewatch that World Cup final and go see Tagliafico's performance. Tremendous. Copa America final. Tremendous. The guy continues to do well for Argentina, but for whatever reason, in my opinion, he doesn't get the respect nor the recognition that he deserves. And completely unfair criticism, in my opinion, when it comes to Tagliafico. I like the guy. I really, really do. Matias, almost forgot about Maffeo. He needs a chance. If he does well with Majorca, why not? Tristan, you hear Scaloni's conference, you hear journalists in Argentina, and see Messi's latest post. It seems pretty clear that this game tomorrow feels like a goodbye for many of the players in the old guard. Yes. There was a picture posted on as well on X. All the players, everybody with the Argentina national team right now, they all pose in a picture, and it's the last match of the year. And yes, you want to take that picture, but I agree with Tristan here. You get the feeling that this is a goodbye for a couple of them. Absolutely. This is absolutely a goodbye. And you kind of get that feeling as well. That's a very, very good point there, Tristan. Thank you for pointing that out. Calvin, most underrated decision from Scaloni is the match with Croatia. Switch to a 4-man midfield to counter the Croatian midfield. They had one of the best midfields in the world, and Scaloni masterclass. That's another one. That was another one. If I'm not mistaken, Paredes came in midfield for that. It was Paredes, Alexis, Enzo, and De Paul. They nullified Croatia. Absolutely nullified them. And that was another one. So that's why I'm not worried when it comes to Brazil or Uruguay and, Scaloni going to try out different players and this and that. I'm not worried whatsoever. Rose T, welcome, Rose T. Very good question. Thank you for joining us. Asking about Carboni, do you think he could come back after the injury? I hope so. He's still young, and he could also always come back. But then at the same time, you look at some of the injuries, especially to younger players, it takes them a while. And some, unfortunately, do not fully recover or regain their form, or they become injury prone. Hopefully, it's not the case with Carboni. The kid is talented, super talented, and has a great future. Not necessarily just with Argentina, but overall. And you hate to see him get injured. Nemes, yeah, they absolutely neutralized Croatia with the midfield. Yeah, with the midfield. I like that. Now, we're going to finish things off as well with Angel Di Maria, no longer with the national team, of course. And he came off with some comments today. Surprised a couple of people, surprised me, because I didn't think he would go down that road. But Di Maria has stated that he is taking or has been taking courses to become a coach. He's been taking them since his early 30s, since he turned 30 or the beginning of his 30s. And he's doing it just in case. According to him, he's doing it just in case. And because of that, he started to see football a little bit differently and analyze it more as well. He started to see it not only from the player's side, but also how a coach sees it. And the first thing that came to mind when I read that was the World Cup final. Him playing on that left-hand side, him obviously understanding what is expected of him and what Scaloni wanted him to do. And I'm surprised by this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm surprised about Di Maria saying he's been taking those courses. We might get Angel Di Maria becoming a coach. Another left winger that I was a big fan of that became a coach, Christian Gonzalez became a coach, is a coach. So maybe we get that with Di Maria. Who knows? But there's a lot of Argentine players turn coaches, especially recently. Obviously, we have everybody with the national team. You have Javier Saviola, coached at one point with Barcelona and the youth teams. Pablo Zabaleta with the Albanian national team. There's a couple. There's a couple more as well. Specifically in 2006, that team had a lot of coaches. If I'm not mistaken, Roberto Abbondanzieri. If I'm not mistaken, he was coaching somewhere, taking his classes. So, Di Maria taking coaching courses. Calvin saying he did not know that. I didn't know that either, to be honest, up until he mentioned it a couple of hours ago. But we might get, who knows, maybe Di Maria turning coach in 2030, coaching Argentina, 34, or later down the road, or being part of the national team staff. If you look specifically right now, Scaloni, Roberto Ayala, Pablo Aimar, Walter Samuel, all of those players have played at World Cups for Argentina. Samuel in 2002 and 2010, Scaloni, Aimar, and Ayala in 2006, Ayala as well in 98 and 2002. So these players, and they've known each other for decades, played at youth level, won tournaments together. We might get that with Di Maria. You never know. You absolutely never know. Keanu Ruiz, I will always love Di Maria. He could coach my team any day. Yes, sir. Calvin, so we can expect video masterclass from the bench now. Yes. Sharik saying if Leo had a better preseason, I feel he will stay more fit throughout the season. Also feel Alvarez and Lautaro along with him in the front three gives us much more mobility and pressing. And Nani saying, I like that for Di Maria. It would be fun seeing him around the pitch again. I'd love to see him. I'm a big Di Maria fan. I think every Argentina fan, especially now, is a big Di Maria fan. So hoping he does well as a coach. Who knows? We might see him down the road, part of the coaching staff or even coaching. Obviously, still an active player, still playing for Benfica, captaining Benfica, scoring great goals with Benfica, and still performing at the highest level with the national team. Sharik, thank you so much for this, Sharik. It means a lot. It really does. I'm not just saying that. Also want to say love your work. Been following you for a long time. Have seen and lived with you through all those years of heartbreaks. It's good to see you happy in sport and experiencing great Argentina moments. Likewise, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. It's Argentina. It's what we love. It's the team we love, and you got to stick with them, whether they're doing well or doing bad. These days, it's much more good than bad. And thank you so much for the comment. And thank you, everybody, as well for joining. Sha Fitness, hello. I'm doing well. How are you? I am doing well. Thank you so much. There you go, Matias. Di Maria, Simeone, Crespo. Crespo coached in Argentina. He coached in Brazil. He coached in Qatar. Now, I think, or in the Emirates now as well, or was in the Emirates. Simeone, obviously, with Atletico. Yeah, there you go. If you don't suffer, you're not Argentine. There you go. I like that. It's but yeah, we still have a lot of Argentine players, a lot of talent coming up, and as coaches as well, a lot. Andres D'Alessandro is another one with Internacional de Porto Alegre. He's part of their, I think he's a sporting director over there in Brazil. He's been there for decades, or I don't want to say decades, but he's been there for several years. He's done well. Sorin is an analyst. There's a lot of players outside of, once they retired, that went either into management or some sort of analysis. So yeah. Calvin, thank you so much, my friend. It's all because of you guys as well. It's the Mundo Albiceleste family. It's the community. I prefer the word family. But thank you so much, everybody. Now, Bati, that's a good question. Batigol, I remember the 2022 in the World Cup, he worked for beIN Sports. He was there with beIN Sports in Qatar. So I don't know. He's not coaching. I know that much. He's absolutely not coaching. Not coaching whatsoever. All right. Now, on that note, Argentina play Peru on Tuesday. They have to win in the sense of ending the year strong, playing at La Bombonera. The history of playing Peru at La Bombonera is not a good one for Argentina. So you want to end the season, or the year, in a positive way, in a good way, and you want to finish number one in the South American World Cup qualifiers, which Argentina are. And as I mentioned, a win versus Peru will also keep them number one in the FIFA rankings going into next year. Nani, I'm feeling well. I'm feeling very, very good. How are you guys feeling about the match versus Peru? Let me know down below. I'm feeling good. I'm saying a win. I'm not gonna predict a score, but I'm gonna predict a win for Argentina. That's my prediction. Sharik, thank you. Hey, thank you. I'm sure it looks just as good on you as well. I love this one. It's the classic retro look. Matthias, I'm not gonna read all of that. Don't want well, more the language than anything else, but you get what I mean. And absolutely, yes. On that note, oh yes, that's another one, Calvin. Very good question. Argentina is playing with the new Adidas 50th anniversary and kit for one time only. They're playing in that kit, so that's gonna be cool to see. It's a more of a retro kit. We're gonna see it tomorrow. But it's not going to be the new kit that they've been playing with. It's going to be the 50th anniversary of their collaboration with Adidas. So that's going to be a cool one to see in action. On that note, a big thank you to everybody for joining us, for all the comments, all the likes, all the subscriptions, all the everything. We are going to be live right after Argentina's match versus Peru on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning or afternoon or wherever you are around the world. We're going to be live after that match right here on YouTube. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and the notifications to be the first person notified as soon as we go live. Much thank you to everybody. Matthias, thank you, my friend. Calvin, thank you as well. Joel, a great live. Roy, thank you, Joel, all the way from Wisconsin as well. So thank you so much for joining us. On that note, as always, everybody, my name is Roy Nemmer of MundoAlbiceleste.com. Thank you, everybody, and take care. Until next time. Thank you, guys.